I'm Lisa DeLay, and this is the second in a series of 7 on being, consciousness, and bliss, an explanation of David Bentley Hart's book. Last time we asked, why is there something rather than nothing? Today we look at the first window into that of 3. Hart gives us being itself, not a being, the sheer fact that things exist. Start with what's in front of you right now. Maybe it's a table, a lamp, light coming through a window. Whatever it is, it exists. And of course, this seems obvious until you really look at it. What does it mean that it exists? Not what is it made of or how did it get here, but that it is at all. That bare stubborn fact of existence itself. Hart says most of us move past this way too quickly. We look at a thing and we ask what it is. It's a book. It's a person. It's a star in the sky. We catalog it and we explain it, but we skip over the strangest part, that it is. This is where Hart begins, with this simple recognition that existence is not self-evident. It's a mystery. Medieval philosophers understood this better than we do today. They drew a distinction that we have mostly lost in our modern time. The difference between essence and existence. Essence is what something is. A book has the essence of bookness. It has pages and words. It has binding. A human has the essence of humanity. Consciousness, will, the capacity for love. Essence is the nature of the thing, but existence, that's different. A unicorn has a clear essence. It's a one-horned horse, if you will, but it doesn't exist, probably. And that's the crucial point. Essence and existence are not the same thing. Everything in creation has this split. A mountain has a nature, it's solid and it has mass, and it rises up over the many years. But that it exists is not part of its nature. The mountain might have not been at all. The universe might have not been. And here's where it gets interesting and sometimes frustrating. When we ask why the mountain exists, we can point to the geological processes. We ask why those processes exist, we can point to physics. When we ask why physics exists, we run out of answers within the physical world. Hart's claim is that this split between essence and existence tells us something profound and incredibly meaningful. It tells us that everything we can point to is actually contingent. It might not be. And if everything might not be, then how is anything? The only thing that could explain existence itself is something whose essence is to exist in the first place. Something for which being and existing are actually the same. Something necessary. And this is what Hart, following this classical tradition, calls God. This is high theism. Not a being among other beings, not a very powerful thing that exists somewhere in the universe, located somewhere, but actually being, capital B, itself, the ground from which all contingent things draw their existence. Now, this might sound abstract, but Hart insists it's not. It's radically intimate. It's with us right now. Think about yourself. You exist right now. That's not nothing. Philosophers call this act of being the sheer dynamic fact that you're here, not what you are or your intelligence or your body or your history, but that you are at all. Hart says this act of being is not static. It's not like a marble setting on a table, existing once and for all. Your existence is continuously sustained. You are being held in existence moment by moment. If God, being itself, somehow withdrew for a single instant, you would also cease. Not gradually, you would just not be there. There would be nothing for you to exist in and through. This changes how we understand creation. It's not something that happened once, like a clockmaker making a clock at the beginning of time, and then God stepped back and let that happen apart from God's self. Creation is actually ongoing and it's continuous. Every moment you exist, you are being sustained by that infinite source of being. So why does David Bentley Hart start here with being rather than with God? Because being is where the evidence is. We experience existence all the time. And we don't have to believe in God to notice that things exist. We only have to just pay attention. We only have to just stop and ask, why is there anything at all? And Hart argues that this is available to anyone regardless of your faith or tradition or religion. You could be a believer, an atheist, a skeptic, a confused, doubting person. All of us encounter the same mystery. The fact that being is. The fact that something is rather than nothing. And if we follow this fact seriously, if we don't stop and explain it away too quickly, we arrive at the recognition that something transcendent must be sustaining at all. This isn't faith, this is philosophy. This is what the human intellect can recognize when it's willing to really look and understand. Medieval thinkers called this the way of being. It's an approach to understanding God that begins not with doctrine or revelation, but with the simple, stubborn fact that existence is just happening. Here's what changes when you really internalize this. You begin to see creation really as a mystery and a gift, not as an accident or a mechanism, but as a continuous outpouring of being from an inexhaustible source. You begin to understand yourself differently too. You're not an independent thing that happens to exist somehow. You're a creature. You're dependent. You're sustained moment by something infinitely greater than yourself. And this can feel like a loss of autonomy even sometimes. But Hart argues really it's the opposite. When you recognize that your very existence is a gift, you're freed from the terrible burden of self-grounding. You don't have to justify your existence. It's already given. The next time we look at the second window from David Bentley Hart, it's consciousness. So if being points to something infinite, what does the fact of awareness tell us? I hope you subscribe and share this with someone else.